Hollywood is mourning the loss of Brittany Murphy this morning. The 32-year-old actress died on Sunday from what officials say appear to be natural causes. An autopsy is planned, reportedly against the wishes of her husband.
To me, I think what makes it work is, I know...
Is that you're so freaking hot?
No, is being able to do scenes with him and being in it with him. I mean...
When someone passes away with cyanide in their body, it looks like they passed away from pneumonia. And there's two people that are close to Diddy that passed away from pneumonia. The first one being Brittany Murphy. At the time, Brittany Murphy was dating Ashton Kutcher.
Y'all, things just took a seriously dark turn. The family of Brittany Murphy is coming forward with some chilling claims that link Diddy to her untimely death. New tapes have surfaced, and they paint a picture so wild, it's got everyone questioning, could this really be true? Let's get into it, because this is going to have your jaw on the floor. A blockbuster documentary just dropped, shedding light on the mysterious circumstances surrounding Brittany Murphy's death. But hold up, it's not just about her tragic passing anymore. Now we're talking explosive allegations suggesting that Diddy may have played a more sinister role in her death than anyone could have imagined. Reports are now claiming that Diddy, known for his wild Hollywood parties, could have been involved in poisoning people who knew too much about him. And there's more. Witnesses are reportedly coming forward, tying both Diddy and Ashton Kutcher to Britney's sudden and suspicious death. The same Ashton who dated Brittany Murphy. But wait, it gets even weirder. Both Britney and Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, tragically died at shockingly young ages, both with causes of death listed as pneumonia. Sounds suspicious, doesn't it? With eerie parallels between their deaths, people are starting to wonder, could something darker be at play here? Or is this just one hell of a coincidence? Let's not forget the ongoing rumors surrounding Diddy. Over the years, there have been wild speculations about him being involved in the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, allegations of shady dealings with artists like Kid Cudi, and even claims that he tried to sabotage Cassie's career just so he could date her. But none of these rumors have stuck quite like the one about Brittany Murphy's mysterious passing.
Diddy allegedly blew up Kid Cudi's car.
That was
What?
the craziest thing. I didn't know that Kid Cudi's car actually exploded.
Yeah.
And it exploded like not long after he was telling Cassie like, I'm gonna blow up Kid Cudi's car.
Yeah, it's completely nuts. So I'm gonna quote from The Root here. The tabloids then reported that Combs threatened to kill Cudi out of revenge for ruining his relationship with Ventura. She had a relationship with Cudi in 2011 during a rough patch with Combs. After Combs found out about the fling, he allegedly went on a rampage, beating Ventura, lunging at her with a corkscrew. Following this, she fled to Cudi's house for revenge. As a result, Ventura claims that Combs directed his rampage toward Cudi. In February 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Mr. Combs told Miss Ventura that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car and that he wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friends when it happened. Around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway.
This does not seem like a coincidence.
And Cudi kind of confirmed it a little bit through his publicist. In a statement published by the New York Times through a spokesperson, Kid Cudi stated, "This is all true."
Well,
that shit is insane. That Diddy's pulling like Casino and Goodfellas era, like exploding cars on people.
When Brittany passed away, the official story was that she died from pneumonia, complicated by anemia. The coroner even pointed to over-the-counter meds as contributing factors. Seems simple enough, right? But then the mold theory emerged. People started speculating that Brittany might have been poisoned by black mold in her house. That theory made things super sketchy, and things only got darker from there.
The type of methamphetamine found in Britney's system is not from the streets, it's from an asthmatic's puffer. It only opens up the air passages. So Britney has not been taking any illegal drugs.
And here's where it gets even more chilling. The rumors surrounding Kim Porter's death are crazy similar to Britney's. Allegedly, Kim had confided in close friends, telling them that she feared for her life before she passed away. Is this all just too coincidental to ignore? People are starting to put two and two together, and it's not looking good for Diddy. These two deaths are way too similar for comfort. Now let's talk about Ashton Kutcher. We all know he and Diddy have been tight for years, but the timing surrounding this situation is way too suspicious. Ashton dated Brittany Murphy back in the early 2000s, and when she died, he went strangely silent. Now hold up, here's the kicker. Ashton's name has been popping up in disturbing stories about Diddy's freak-off parties and some seriously dark allegations. Brittany Murphy was a star in the early 2000s. Her talent was undeniable, and the public loved her. But behind the scenes, that's where things got ugly. Her sudden death at just 32 left everyone heartbroken, but it also left us with a ton of questions that still don't have answers. Months after Britney's death, her husband, Simon Monjack, tragically passed away under eerily similar circumstances. Coincidence? Some people say no. In fact, the weirdness doesn't stop there. Simon didn't want an autopsy performed on Britney. He claimed she hadn't taken anything dangerous, but when the coroner did the autopsy anyway, the official report stated that Britney's death was due to pneumonia, anemia, and multiple substance intoxication. Simon went on record denying that Britney had been on anything dangerous. He insisted she'd only been taking herbal remedies and some basic cold medicine. But here's the thing, people weren't buying it. The story didn't add up. If it was just cold meds, why weren't there more answers? Why was there so much secrecy? Things got even more bizarre when reports about black mold in Britney's Hollywood Hills home surfaced. According to her mom and Simon, they suspected the mold could have played a role in her death. The problem? When investigators requested a mold test, Simon and Sharon blocked it. Why would they stop a mold inspection if they genuinely thought it was the cause of her illness? That raised serious red flags. And here's where it gets really weird. Pathologist Dr. Richard Shepard dismissed the mold theory, saying the autopsy didn't show any trace of mold in Britney's body. So, that theory is officially out. But why didn't anyone dig deeper into the possibility of poisoning? Why the rush to close the case? Let's talk more about Simon Monjack. The guy had major red flags from the start. He was much older than Britney, and they met when she was just 17. There were allegations of fraud and shady business dealings surrounding him, and many of Britney's friends were convinced he was taking advantage of her. So was Simon involved in something much darker than anyone realized?
Although there is no evidence of physical violence by Simon Monjack toward Brittany Murphy, I would characterize the relationship as abusive.
I think Brittany Murphy would be here today if she hadn't met Simon.
I don't think that he killed her, but I can guarantee you he didn't save her.
Britney's friend, actress Kathy Najimy, opened up in the documentary, sharing how Simon was always around when Britney was going through a tough time. Kathy believes this is when Britney's judgment started to falter. After hearing these claims, it's hard not to believe Kathy. The timing and circumstances just don't feel right.
Well, I'm often referred to as a criminal without a criminal record, which is quite funny. I woke up the morning after my wife died and there was a thing saying murderer.
Calling you a murderer?
Yeah, that I murdered my wife.
And then there's Simon himself, the man who made wild claims about dating supermodels like Elle Macpherson and Madonna, and even said he was dying from terminal brain cancer, but later admitted he wasn't. Every story out of his mouth was a lie, and it makes you wonder, did Britney really see all of this coming? A few years after Britney's death, her father, Angelo Bertolotti, wasn't backing down. He hired a private lab to investigate Britney's death further, and the results? Disturbing. The lab found high levels of heavy metals in Britney's hair, levels that were way beyond normal. These were the same metals found in rat poison or insecticides. Angelo didn't hold back. He publicly stated he believed his daughter was murdered. So why didn't the original autopsy catch this? Experts say the coroner wouldn't have tested for heavy metals unless poisoning was specifically suspected. And that leads us to a big question. Why didn't Sharon, Britney's mother, push for a deeper investigation? Why weren't more questions asked? It feels like there's something being covered up. But here's where it gets even stranger. What if Sharon was reluctant to push for the autopsy because of her complicated relationship with Simon Monjack? Allegedly, Sharon and Simon weren't just mourning Britney's death. They may have been romantically involved. After Britney passed away, Simon and Sharon continued to live together in the same house. Sources, including a Radar Online reporter who interviewed Simon at the time, claimed that the two were sharing a bed. And get this, there was even a photo shoot taken shortly after Britney's death, where Simon and Sharon were holding hands and gazing into each other's eyes like a couple. Insiders who saw the photos commented that they looked more like parents grieving than a mother-in-law and son-in-law. To top it all off, they gave a joint interview with Larry King in 2010 that left everyone questioning their behavior. In that interview, they both revealed something deeply unsettling. Britney had allegedly told Sharon, "Mom, I'm dying. I love you," just hours before her death. But when Larry King probed for more details, Simon stepped in, insisting Sharon had forgotten the time and that her recollection wasn't accurate. But wait, there's more. Simon then bizarrely said he didn't want an autopsy performed on Britney because he couldn't bear the thought of her pristine body being cut open in front of her mother. It's an odd statement, especially considering Simon was the one who was supposed to be mourning the loss of his wife. Sharon denied these rumors, calling them disgusting and insisting they were just close family friends. But when you look at the evidence, it's hard not to ask if there was something more going on there. Some people claim that Britney had become blacklisted in Hollywood for refusing to play by the unspoken rules. What were those rules? Allegedly, one of the biggest was participating in Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Wait, what? Could Britney have been dragged into these dark Hollywood circles through her connection with Ashton Kutcher? Britney and Ashton dated for a brief period, but could that have been when things took a turn for the worse? They met on the set of Just Married in 2002, and although their relationship was short-lived, it's been said that Britney knew too much, and maybe that's why things ended the way they did. Ashton even reportedly cheated on her with Demi Moore, another rumored guest at Diddy's parties. Could this be the connection we've all been missing?
Here's a passage from the book. Ashton was less and less present. I went into contortions in an attempt to fit the mold of what he wanted his wife to be. I wanted this marriage to work, and I was willing to do whatever it took to jump through any hoop. So when he expressed his fantasy of wanting to bring a third person into our bed, I didn't say no. I wanted to show him how great and fun I could be.
So here's where things get even more sketchy. Enter Ed Winter, the deputy Los Angeles County coroner, who was responsible for some of the most high-profile cases in Hollywood. He conducted the autopsies for not only Brittany Murphy, but also Kim Porter, Diddy's ex. That's already a bit of a strange coincidence, right? Winter was involved in the investigations of other major deaths, like Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, so he definitely had a reputation for handling celebrity cases. But here's the kicker. Ed Winter passed away on March 17, 2023, reportedly of natural causes. Now, conspiracy theorists are connecting the dots, suggesting that Diddy may have had something to do with Britney's death to prevent her from exposing some serious Hollywood misconduct. But wait, it gets even weirder. One of the most chilling pieces of the puzzle is the fact that Winter was the one to handle both Brittany Murphy's and Kim Porter's autopsies. Speculators point to a significant detail. Winter never completed a second autopsy on Kim Porter before he passed away. Some believe that Winter's death was somehow convenient, a move to keep certain secrets buried. But hold up, the plot thickens. Connections are being drawn between Britney's husband, Simon Monjack, and Diddy, and it all ties back to a personal trainer. Allegedly, Simon shared a personal trainer with Diddy, and this connection is really adding fuel to the conspiracy fire. Now get this, some speculate that Simon Monjack owed that personal trainer a lot of money, and remember, Simon wasn't exactly known for keeping his finances in order. In fact, Simon had a reputation for shady dealings that only raised more suspicions about his actions. Could it be that Diddy, through his connection to the same trainer, might have had a hand in ensuring Britney's silence? After all, she was rumored to be on the verge of exposing some deep secrets about Hollywood and the darker side of Diddy's world.
Harley Pasternak is a celebrity trainer, and he's pretty well known for being the one that sent Kanye those text messages threatening him. Allegedly, Simon Monjack owed Harley Pasternak a lot of money.
Here's where things take a chilling turn. Simon Monjack, after Britney's death, was reported to have been paranoid. He believed people were watching him, and even went so far as to install multiple cameras in his home. Why? Well, some believe it was because Simon was terrified. He was convinced that Diddy was coming for him next. Of course, as y'all know, he also died under mysterious circumstances just like his wife.
In 2020, I interviewed Britney's mother-in-law, Simon Monjack's mother, Linda Monjack, and she told me that Simon, Britney, and Sharon Murphy, Britney's mom, were all terrified of someone or something.
Well, I think that they were all terrified of something. All three of them were terrified of something.
Who's all three of them?
Britney, Simon, and Sharon.
And Sharon. You think, oh, wow.
When you really take a step back and look at all the pieces, it's starting to feel like it all points back to Diddy. And trust me, the dots are connecting in a way that's almost too eerie to ignore. Diddy has a long history of silencing people, allegedly, especially anyone who's about to speak out or expose something shady. I mean, just look at the pattern here. First, we've got Kim Porter, who was reportedly working on a tell-all book about her time with Diddy. She dies mysteriously of pneumonia at just 47. Then there's Eric West, a key figure in the investigation of Kim's death, who also passed away before he could even carry out a second autopsy on her. Now let's add Brittany Murphy to the mix. She was hanging around with Diddy and his circle, and Ashton Kutcher, you know, that connection to the Hollywood elite, and somehow ends up dead in the exact same way. Sudden, mysterious, and young. It's just too much of a coincidence. And if you think that's wild, we've got Uncle Ron, who was Beyoncé and Jay-Z's bodyguard. Jay-Z, by the way, who's currently being accused of being involved in a disturbing incident with a young girl alongside Diddy back in the early 2000s. Now Uncle Ron, just like the others, mysteriously dies of pneumonia at 59. Are we seeing a pattern here? When you connect all these deaths, all these suspiciously timed passings, it's hard not to start thinking that Diddy might be the common thread. So what do you think? Could Brittany Murphy's death really have been tied to Diddy and his Hollywood circle? Why was everything surrounding her death so suspicious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the darker side of Hollywood. Oh, and stay tuned for the next video. You won't want to miss it. Trust me. Catch you in the next one.